Interesting, eh? It's different from the other one, wasn't it? Ready to go?
Yeah. Very different.
Very different, eh? So 3, 2, 1. That's for you, Jared. G'day everyone. Welcome to the Go Podcast. We have a good guest. We have a special guest here. James Price. Basically, shout out to Clayton for Clayton lining this up. Clayton was my first guest. If you guys can go back last year, he was the first guest, and he sort of requested James Price here today. So welcome. Thank you for coming in, sir.
Thanks, bro. Nice to have you.
That's good. So just a quick one. So James, for what you do, you're in a business. What would you call it again? James,
yeah. I mean, we do a lot of things, but we value businesses basically, and we help people buy and sell businesses. And probably the other thing we do is we help people with problems that are running a business.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so yeah, that's pretty much what we do.
Problems. So what kind of problems would you say?
Oh, business is a problem, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
Business, you know all about. There's always a problem.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
Look, I don't know. Most good business people, they sort out their own problems, you know. But you know, sometimes you're in a business, you've been running it for a couple of years, and it's just ticking along, but it's stressful. It's hard. You know, it's hard to grow, it's hard to change, hard to keep staff on board.
Yeah.
You know, you're wondering, is it all worth it? You know?
Yeah.
I'm just getting a wage here.
It's me every day, but
yeah. And there's such a, there's a risk. There's a big risk, and you think, how am I going to do better than that, right? And invariably, that's where we get involved. Which it's all about value, right? I'm doing something. Am I feeling like I'm creating value? Am I feeling like I'm valued?
In saying that, so you're talking about value and talking about basically valuing their business and see how much it's basically worth. Is there a formula? Because is there a formula to say, okay, your business, because some people probably they think that I've got X amount of assets, I've got X amount of work coming in, I've got X amount of employees, revenue, blah, 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 profits, whatever. Is there a formula you guys follow where it is, in a sense of saying that, look, my business is worth 2 million, then you come to them and they say, no, it's actually worth X amount because we did this, we sort of times this plus this and whatever you guys do. Is there a formula you guys follow, if that makes sense?
It's witchery. It's witchery.
What's that?
Witchery. We're wizards.
Oh, yeah.
Look, can I answer that the long way around, right? So I mean, there is a formula.
Yeah. Right.
And when you think of the word value, immediately, for most people, it conjures up dollars, cents, doesn't it?
Yeah.
How much is it worth?
If it doesn't make dollars, that makes sense.
Yeah. But actually, it's actually the reverse. I know this is weird, but I don't know whether you've heard the term goodwill, right?
Yeah.
And goodwill is about. It's just goodwill, right? Is there goodwill is a valuable thing, right?
Yeah.
Someone's goodwill in a business, it's like, okay, there's hard assets, like this cup is worth something, this piece of scaffold's worth something, this truck is worth something. No, that's easy, right? You can go to the market and someone can tell you what that's worth.
Yeah.
Because it's traded. But can they tell you what goodwill is valued at, right?
So what's its purpose, or would you say?
Well, no, it's more than, you can have hard assets, but in a business, there are tangible things like hard assets, like trucks.
Mm-hmm.
There are intangible things, like goodwill, right?
Okay.
Yeah, I think we were talking the other day about people staying with your business, like your staff.
Yeah.
Right? And, I think, staff get offered, they might be on 80K and someone says, well, come to me for 95.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Because, we can pay you that. Why do they not go? Like some staff, are they stupid or, like why wouldn't they go? If value is all about money, why wouldn't they just go there, right? No. They don't necessarily, some go, but some don't. Like customers, for instance. You got a customer, you're charging them $50 an hour to do a job, and suddenly you lift your rates to 65. Now some will head off. The others, they'll stick with you, right?
Yeah.
Because they're not actually focused just on the dollars. They're focused on other things around you know,
positions, like,
yeah, the value of what you're providing,
Yeah.
you know, the goodwill,
Yeah.
right? The, you know, you might be shit hot at delivery, you might be really good at quality, you might be, you know, they know that they can depend on you.
Yeah.
And they know you versus someone they don't know.
like a big company offers you big money,
Yeah.
and you don't know how long you'll be there
Yeah.
for, type thing.
The big company might come into the market and undercut the hell out of the market.
Yeah.
But they think, oh, geez, I don't know about that. Don't know them. I don't know the owner. You know, I can ring the owner and I can talk to the decision maker and I can, you know, I know he'll make it happen for me, right?
Mhm.
So all that stuff, in a funny sort of way, is goodwill.
Yeah, I understand. I know what you're saying. Yeah.
And so valuing a business is about valuing the goodwill and the hard assets. Yeah.
In saying that, the goodwill. So, from my understanding, that or my experience is that the goodwill, majority of it will probably come from small businesses, because you know the boss directly type thing. I've worked for like big companies and stuff like that before, and to get to the director, it's actually very hard. You've got sort of so there's like a pyramid. So you sort of, and then to me, it's just like if you're trying to justify your problem, you don't have that relationship with actually the director or the owner. But with small businesses, you sort of know them at a personal level. You know what, you know, and they'll probably give you more information, knowing how to run a business or what's going on and what's the sort of future for the company.
Yeah.
I feel like the goodwill is sort of comes from small businesses more often than big businesses, if that makes sense. Or you can give me examples and then we go from there.
Well, I mean, it's interesting, right?
Yeah.
Like, I think some small businesses have zero goodwill, right?
Okay.
And
Maybe it's just me then. I've got a lot of goodwill, eh?
well, you got me a coffee, so that's part. I'll add some value for that. No. Some small businesses have zero goodwill, and I'll tell you why. Right? Because you might have a really good relationship with your customer.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, if you're a small business and it's completely reliant on you as an owner, and if you don't get out of bed one day because you just don't feel like it,
Yeah.
no money flows in.
Exactly. Yeah.
Because you're not sort of sorting things. You've got no one, you haven't got the systems and the processes and the people to truck on, regardless of how you feel that day.
And that adds value, obviously, overall.
Well, it does.
Structure, yeah.
Because it's sort of like you've turned the machine on, but is that turn on totally reliant on you as a single person in a small business? If it is, right, then the goodwill's going to be diminished.
Yeah.
Because if I was to buy your business, I'm not buying it, right, in terms of value, right? I'm not buying it for past results. I'm not buying it because you were a good guy to the client 6 months ago.
Yeah.
Or you did a pretty special, you know, house construction and it was something very special, right?
Mm-hmm.
That I don't get that value, if you like, in terms of when that value was delivered.
Yeah.
I'm buying the future earnings,
Huh.
the future potential,
Yes.
right? So today we turn the motor on. How long does it run without Joe doing anything to the motor, without him putting fuel into it?
A
right?
week.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
But you know, there's a forward activity there. You get it?
Yeah.
Right?
I understand. Yeah.
Now, some of those big businesses will not have the personal aspects and the point of difference that a small business will have, and that's why there's some very successful small businesses, right? Because they just get into cracks and ways of doing stuff that's innovative, right? And special, because they have to by necessity.
Yeah.
Right. Big businesses, they're a little bit more. It's the wrong word, commoditized. Like they're more about systems, processes, repeatability. They've got teams of people.
Yeah.
You know, scratching things in a different way.
Justifying jobs and stuff like that.
Yeah. But and some of that can lose the personal touch, and it can diminish delivery performance. But there's other things like contracts, you know, forward orders. They might have a pipeline with jobs and work in progress that goes out 18 months.
Yeah.
Right? Now, there's goodwill, right? Because, you know, forget about the assets you need to, you know, the gear you need to deliver that pipeline.
There's like trust in that sort of contract.
But it's an order, right? Like, so if I buy into that business today, I can, you know, I can expect that if I don't fuck the thing up,
Yep.
that I'm going to get that work coming in, right? So if you go back to the engine
Yep.
analogy, you know, if you turn it on, it's going to run for a bit longer.
Yeah.
Right. So therein lies, you know, the difference in goodwill. Not one's better than the other. It's just different. Right?
So goodwill is measured in basically, what would you say, structure, management.
It's a lot of things.
It's like a lot of things, but yeah, it's like,
A whole bunch of. It's about the potential for the business to earn things in a forward way.
Yeah.
So it's measured in jobs.
yeah,
And in prospects and the likelihood that they'll fall through, right?
yeah,
You know, versus if I take Joe out of the lounge room, will the lounge room still be a good place to be in? You know, in terms of the lounge room
Yes.
being the business, or is he the bright star, right?
yeah,
Now, there's some really good businesses that have that, you know, what we call concentration risk. You know, the individual makes the business.
yeah,
So I'm not here to say, you know, if you've got a business like that, it's fucked.
yeah.
That's not the case.
Mm-hmm.
But the key is,
To sort of work your way towards goodwill.
well, that's right. If you want to sell it to someone else,
Yeah.
right? If you want to create business at a future point, a value at a
Yeah.
future point, right? Some businesses, they're not worried about creating future value. They want to take the value now.
Yeah.
Right. And we tell clients, well, there's nothing wrong with that, right? So make sure your business is driving as hard as possible.
Mhm.
If you're happy to take the risk on your own shoulders,
Yeah,
just make sure you're getting a good return,
yeah, yeah.
right? Day by day.
One of my mentors back in the day, it actually was my TAFE teacher when I was doing engineering and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So he said he had a business and stuff, and he said what took him out was basically big businesses coming in, doing what he's doing, basically, but like 20 million on actually one product. He was building one product, but he sort of did it by with two guys. But then you had, you know, another big companies.
Yeah.
They can do what he does like tenfold, you know,
Yeah.
in X amount of time. So he was telling me that, Joe, with business, what you want to do is that your goal should be that if you remove yourself, you build your business to a position where if you remove yourself out of the business, is it still running without you there?
Yeah.
And so talking about a goodwill, I think that sort of relates to it in a way. Like if you can remove yourself out of a business and it's still running, well then that's what he said, that's business.
Well, it's a
If
good,
that makes sense.
Yeah, it's a good point. I mean, your TAFE teacher, you know, knew what he was on about. Because
Shout out to Dave.
Yeah, is Dave.
Yeah.
Dave, good on you, Dave.
Shout out.
Like we often do it as a test, right? When we're valuing a business, we'll say, righto, we take this turkey out of the business.
Yeah.
How is it? How do we feel about it? You know, because we set ourselves in a purchaser's shoes and say, well,
So I
that dude's not going to be there. You know, what are we going to get? What are we actually getting? Yeah, well, we're getting the truck, and we're getting this asset, but you know, what else are we going to get? And is it going to be as solid? You know.
Yeah.
For instance, does the owner have all the relationships with the customers? Are they going to feel comfortable coming to us? You know, so those are some of the factors we look at when we're doing the mathematical valuation.
Because I think that will come down to sort of the customers knowing that, do we have trust in this house? Are you going to run it? Does he? It might change the dynamic a bit. So
yeah, and
personality is considered too. So
but over time you can kind of develop that, right? Like we think, you know, it's good for your clients to have relationships with another person other than the business owner.
Yeah.
Right? Because then, you know, they feel like they've got a stronger relationship, if anything. You know, it's multi-dimensional, right? They don't have to know everything about the client's business, but it just feels that, you know, that they're covered, their back's covered because there's more than one person that understands their business, right?
Yeah.
But look, there's a number of ways of putting a dollar value, right? So I told you it's going to be a long way around to get.
No, let's go. Let's do it.
Look, I could give you 10 different ways to do it, right?
Yeah.
But a simple mechanism is, you know, a lot of businesses, we look at those forward orders,
Yeah.
right? And we look at the past performance, and we say, okay, what are the earnings of this business? Let's say, you know, the sales are $1 million, and the gross profit is 650,000, and at the bottom line, 200,000 before tax.
Yeah.
Right? And we might say, well, okay, it's done that on average over the last 3 years. 200,000 before tax, let's say.
Yeah,
right?
2.6, yeah.
Right? So the average earnings is 200,000. We look at forward orders. We can see them out 6 months. They've got houses booked in to do jobs, and you know,
Yep.
and then we look at the external market and we say, gee, what's the market like? Oh, it's going gangbusters in the Sydney town. Everyone's building a house. Everyone wants those services, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And we can actually see that for the next year, they'll probably do 300,000 at the bottom line.
Yep.
Not 200, because it's growing, for
Yep.
instance. Now, it's not always the case, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So, you know, we decide how to weight those two figures, and we might say, well, look, we reckon the future, what we call future maintainable earnings,
Yeah.
is 250,000. Right?
Okay. And that's an average, or is that like an average of potential, what you can see forecasting ahead, or
It's all of that.
it's all of the
And that's why I say there's a bit of valuation is an art, and
sounds like it.
and a science, right? It's not a 1 + 1 = 2 jobby.
Yeah.
But you know, and it's a bit of gut feel, I guess. Although I haven't got much of a gut these days because I've been
That's
training,
good.
training, which is
That's good walk yesterday.
Hey, it wasn't. Hey, I mean, it's
See the opportunities I was taking?
Look, I was a bit interested in those opportunities, but there are others that I were interested in.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Bro, I was impressed with those opportunities you were taking. That was good.
Oh yeah, but yeah. So like out here, you'll definitely see them. So I'm doing the same thing.
Yeah, but that's what it's about, right?
Yes.
You know.
But that's not goodwill though.
Well,
That's just opportunity. What as a business owner,
Yeah.
but what potentially can go to goodwill for customer forecasting ahead.
you know what? Yeah, like,
You know what I mean? That's kind of work what people don't see though.
well,
You can't put a price on that.
yeah. I mean, yeah. What you were doing was scouting out for future business, right?
Mhm.
And I mean, I told someone this story this morning actually. There's two sorts of people in this world, right?
Yeah.
And there's not a right or a wrong, right? Some of us are happy with our lot.
Yeah.
And we tend to, you know, figure out the plan and follow, right?
Yeah.
Others, they're a bit like an explorer, right? They're on a ship and they're wanting to set sail because they know there's some desert islands with coconut trees and they want to find them.
Yeah.
Right? Now they know they're there and they know there's a few obstacles, but they don't know exactly where they are. Right? But you know, the minute they say they're an explorer, they accept one thing. They're prepared to be vulnerable, right? They're prepared to chance their arm
Yeah.
to be a bit different and create something different, right? They kind of know the direction they want to go, but what they do know is they've built something and they want to go to the next level,
Yeah.
right? So yeah, I regard them as an explorer, and you know, you're prepared to be vulnerable. You don't mind being vulnerable. A lot of people don't like being vulnerable because they feel exposed, right? Being vulnerable, like testing your arm with something, you know, something that's new or different, doing a cold call, you know,
Yeah.
with a company that you've never
It's very nervous and
experienced
stuff.
before,
Yeah. It's
right?
very nerve-wracking.
You
and
know,
stuff.
you got to put yourself out there. You got to dangle them out there and say, "Oh, okay. Well, if I get a rejection, so be it."
Yeah.
Right. So there's not a right or wrong, but I mean, what you were doing in that street, I think was the explorer job to me, right? And in business, and we look at this in terms of
Yeah.
valuations, right? You look at a business's point of difference,
Yeah.
right? And sometimes it comes down to the owner in a small business, but the trick to growing value in the business is how you sort of cement that point of difference beyond just the owner into the business, right? Now, you've heard of culture, right?
Yeah.
Right? Like culture can be a point of difference.
Yeah.
Now, it's hard to value, but I know businesses I've dealt with that have got a shit hot culture
Yeah.
And some that have got the crappiest and most negative culture as a customer to experience I've ever had.
Yep.
Now, where does that come from? It's, where does the culture come in your business? How's that, where's it come from?
The blue collar worker? That's where it comes from. That's our culture.
Yeah, but who shapes it, right?
Who shapes us? We do.
Absolutely,
The workers, yeah.
absolutely. But it comes, and then, so, I mean, that's only one point of difference.
Yeah.
Right. But, now you can create some points of difference and they don't actually deliver any value at all.
Yeah.
Right? So you might say, right, I'm gonna change the uniform of the business, right? So everyone's gonna wear,
Like to be sustained.
yeah,
Yeah.
right? And so be it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now, it might add to the culture and the feel of the business and the professionalism,
Yeah.
but it might actually add nothing at all, right?
No builder's gonna notice that to get your work.
Yeah, so you're thinking, well, so what? Why would you want to be different? Just to be different?
Yeah.
Well, that's fine, but in terms of your valuation, it's not going to deliver anything.
Yeah.
But a point of difference is about competitiveness. It's saying, why are you better than any other business in your field? Tell me. I mean, what's your point of difference?
Well, the one we were talking about yesterday, supply and demand.
Yeah.
It's one, because then if you're the company known as a supply and demand, especially in the industry what I'm in, you can tell that, well, we can rely on him in 24 hours rather than wait for a week ahead. So
Yeah.
the point of difference is time. So if you can be supply and demand, sort of saves time and headaches, if that makes sense.
It makes a lot
For the clients.
It makes a lot of sense. I mean, I've acted for clients
Yeah.
in a construction development game, right?
Yeah.
Over the years, and we've had a number of scaffolding businesses as clients, and I don't know the business anything like you do, right? But what I do know is, if I was to choose 10 scaffolding businesses,
Yeah.
1, possibly 2 out of 10 would have that point of difference.
Would have that.
Would have it. The rest,
I thought they all had it though. Because if
they'll have a point of difference, but I'd argue that they wouldn't have that supply, demand, quality.
I don't know, because so I think to myself, it's like, the way I look at it itself, I don't want to get personal on it, but if I'm in business and if we're out hunting and everyone's hungry,
Yeah.
got 10 people out there hunting, well, fuck, there's only one cat out of you guys, whoever gets it, we eat, our tribe eats, and we survive, survivors of the fittest. So in my head, I'm thinking supply and that's how I look at it. I'm thinking that we've got all these builders, everyone's got them,
Yeah.
and yes, they're probably already taken. Yes, someone's already probably, it's got them and stuff like that. But all you can offer is basically your expression of interest. After that, it's basically what's your point of difference. That be ready when they call you in 24 hours or 6 months later, like we talked about. Like I think that if you just, and they say don't stop being a yes man. I think it's, I don't know. Yes in certain issues, because I've always said yes. Remember how we talked about how I ran out of gear, then I found a way within a short period of time. So I was just like, there's always a way. You just got to find it. But you got to be. I had to be pushed to that. I was safe. I was like.
But do you think some of your competitors always find a way?
Surely they do. Like, I don't know.
I'm not going to run down the industry. I'm just using it as an example.
I just feel like, actually, when I think about it, no, because I've told my clients they're actually complaining about the stuff I'm doing, what they didn't do about.
Well, the issue is, I don't know what your charges are. I'm not asking about them, but
I know what you're talking about. Yeah. Point of difference, exactly. I know what you're saying.
The issue here is, you get back to, we talked about, well, why is someone staying with you, or why is a client prepared to pay more with you than someone else? It's because of some of those factors, including the point of difference.
Yeah.
So
that's the goodwill you're talking about.
Well, it is. So
it is, yeah.
No, that's spot on.
Yeah.
And the issue is how locked on is that point of difference. When we look at a business, sometimes point of difference, it's like, is it a point of difference, or does everyone do it? Which is perfect. What you're saying, right?
Yeah.
So how competitive is it, right? And how long is that point of difference going to be a point of difference before the market overruns it? Right? If you think of video stores, right? They were a dime a dozen, they were everywhere, right? The people that owned them were making big money, and then suddenly they were gone, right?
Yeah. Because the point of difference with that one was comfortability, just ordering it at your own house in your underwear.
Absolutely. And suddenly the competitiveness was just removed.
So
right?
it didn't even matter about the prices.
No. exactly. Like it was almost that was a and point of difference is sometimes technology based.
I was about to say that. Yes, I was about to say that technology actually helped us. So that was in time. So that maybe Blockbuster back in the 90s was popping, and then the internet was introduced, and then opportunities came from the internet, which Netflix.
And people wanted to be in their lounge room, and they,
Easy.
you know, and they wanted to interact more, and they just, you know, it just moved on.
Yeah.
I mean, think of Brick Lane. What happens when, you know, and the technology's available? What happens when it's all automated and robot related? Like it's on the edge,
Yeah.
right?
And that's when you're talking about value and seeing forecasting 5 to 10 years. Is this business going to be X amount of money?
Spot on, you know. Is it in an industry that's growing, or is it in an industry that's heavily crowded and going to be overtaken by some of these factors? You know, like so. There's, you know, it's. I mean, they're all factors. We haven't talked about this final bloody number yet.
Yep.
I don't know how we got on a point of difference.
Point of difference is part of goodwill, but then you're talking about the difference in like seeing your company valued on what was it? It was valued on what's your point of future and stuff like that, forecasting ahead.
Yeah, but I was talking about explorers because you know, I think it's like if you're an explorer style business person, you're developing your products, it's dynamic. You're not set. It's like you say, oh, you know, I didn't have any gear, I had to find a way. I was forced to find a way.
Yeah.
Right? So, but you embrace that. You're prepared to try something a bit different.
Yes. But some people thrive on that too. I thrive on pressure. I mean, I don't thrive. I don't thrive. I don't. That's wrong. Sorry, I don't mean to say. I mean, I perform better when I'm under pressure. When I feel like everything's set, and this is why we're going back to we're having all these stuff set. If it's set, I feel like, what else can I do? There's not much you can do from here on in. So I feel like being always challenged. I think being challenged is where you'll get the best out of me. And I'm not just saying it's me. It's not like everyone's different. Some people can work under a sort of management and can work under certain roles. But for me, I just repetitive stuff just gets boring. But you know, like I said, when I ran out of gear, the yard was empty, and then I looked around. I was like, "Fuck, what do I do? I've got these guys calling me left, right, and center." And then straight away, the first thing was bang. I was just like, caught up my mate. I said, "Bro, like, what do I do in this industry?" Bro, I think they got higher places. You just got, bro. First thing I did that day, 24 hours. That gear was actually at that job, but that was stripped. But now I've mastered that. So because like it's unlimited. Yeah. So now it's just, you know what I mean? So you work that out in 24 hours, some stuff, and then you just go, what's next? Do you know what I mean? Like it's...
Yeah, look, I'm not here arguing that one is better than the other.
Yeah.
But it's interesting, right? We're wired differently, right?
Yeah.
And I think a combination is important. I'll give you an example, right? An engineering business that was a previous client of ours. So, you know, they fabricate steel stuff.
Small industry,
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, we happen to have a lot of engineering clients over the years. Interesting business, right? And this business, I think had a turnover about, I don't know, 5 mil or thereabouts, right? Tough game, right? Because over the last few years, the Chinese have kind of flooded the market.
It's not what it used to be.
It's not easy, right?
Yeah.
And a lot of high costs, you know, a lot of labour costs, and you know, it's a tricky biz. So what they had an element of product development, which was new and different, but they also had a standard run. They used to make box trailers, and they used to make, I don't know, they make 500 a year. They might make 750.
Yeah.
They got onto a market, and they're cookie cutters. They're exactly the same. Like, you know, it's like a bakery making the same cake every day, right? Nothing new about that, right? So their point of difference was that they made the process so templated that they could do it very, very efficiently, and it was high volume, right?
Yeah.
So, and it was pretty low margin, that biz, right?
Yeah.
But what it did is it flowed some revenue in, covered their base expenses.
Yeah.
The other part of the business was more custom engineering stuff for particular jobs on mine sites, right? So it was all different, higher margin, more challenging. They had to come up with solutions to fix a client's problem. The value of a business like that is that you've got different revenue streams.
Sounds like a bit like cash flow. That little one there was just it's cash flow.
Absolutely.
And then whatever they do up here is just basically, you know, profit or they can, you know, just for
And whatever you do up here is often projects, so it's lumpy stuff.
Yeah, yeah.
So some months it'll be huge, and other months it'll be not.
But while this one here is ticking over, that's just paying the overheads.
Paying the day-to-day overheads.
Yeah.
Right?
So yeah.
So again, if we look at a business, right,
Mm-hmm.
those things, so your health factors, like that sort of supports the value a bit,
Mm.
right?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. But
So cash flow definitely helps your.
at the end of the day, you want to be positive cash.
Mm.
But you can be negative cash if you're growing a business fast.
Yeah.
Sometimes you got to go into negative cash to grow.
Yeah.
Right? Because you got to, you got
Spend
to.
money to make the money type.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So how do you value business? 250 in earnings we
Yeah.
talked about,
Yeah.
right? And then we look into the market and say, right, let's look at similar businesses and what are they trading for? What are people paying for these type of businesses? And with a small business that might have, this business had a million in turnover. What people are paying depends on the market, how strong they are, all those health factors we talked about. But they might be paying, let's say, 3 times earnings.
Yeah.
Right? And what that basically says is, I'm prepared to pay $750,000
Okay.
for a business that's earning $250,000 a year.
Yeah.
Right? And what they're really saying is, I'll pay my purchase price off in 3 years.
Mm.
Right?
Yeah.
Put another way, they're saying I want a 30% return
Yeah.
on my investment.
Yeah, I know what you're saying.
Roughly.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Just take me 3 years to get there, but yeah.
Yeah.
Potentially.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, that 3 times earnings can vary hugely, right? In the same industry. Like one business like this could be worth 1 times, one could be worth 4.5 times.
And why would you get that? Would you say in your experience, in your opinion?
I sound like a broken record, bro. Diversity of revenue streams,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Owner risk,
Yeah. Yeah.
external market factors, the strength of the forward orders.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. We talked about that earlier. Yeah.
There's another really interesting thing, right, which we come across a bit, and it's hard to value, right? We valued this business in Melbourne.
Yeah.
It was a joinery business,
Mm-hmm.
right? So they did some really fancy fit outs for corporate offices and stuff.
Yeah.
Right? And they also did, they made lockers, right? So the whole end of trip, not so much in COVID times, but
Yeah.
the end of trip thing where people travel into a big office and they might ride their bike and they need a spot for their bike and all their gym gear goes into lockers. So lockers are quite a big thing. Now this business is a bit like the box trailer thing. The locker thing,
What's just the small money?
was just coming in because I was saying they're just a box.
Yeah. And if you work in an office, you get a box.
Yeah. But the joinery,
Yeah.
like carpentry, bro, those bloody chippies, they're so intense, like but it's all specialist stuff, it's got to look good,
Yeah.
Anyhow, this business had a turnover about 15 mil.
Yeah.
And it had struggled, but the owners had made good money, but it wasn't earning much at the bottom line, but it was earning something, right?
Yeah.
Anyhow, we valued the business, I think, about all up about 3 mil, right?
But it was turnover. Didn't you say turnover 15?
Turnover 15, right?
Valued at 3.
But we valued about 3 mil. So it was basically, I think the earnings, the annual earnings were about, we probably assessed them at 800 grand,
Mm-hmm.
right? So it was kind of like a 3 times, right?
Yeah.
So about 3 mil. Anyhow, we were appointed to sell the business, and it's really interesting because we ended up selling it for double what we valued it for.
And whose mistake was that though?
Oh!
No, because
that's a good point.
Because if I was going to sell my business and then I hired James Price, and then James Price comes to me at 2 mil, and I'm like, and I've had to be like, wait, I think I thought it'd be better than that.
Yeah.
Wouldn't that, you know what I mean? Like, how did that? Where was it a communication thing or?
No, well, look, it was. It made me sit back and take notice and think, what the fuck? you know, we did a lot of assessment of comparable sales to really give this guy some advice around what we thought it was worth, right?
Yeah.
And we said, look, it's worth $3 million, and this is the evidence
Yeah.
of like businesses that have sold
Yeah.
in a similar range. And our client was convinced of that.
I would have been too.
And we were, but the difference was we found a buyer that actually we dealt with previously. It was a Sydney-based company that's national, and it just so happened that they wanted to go into lockers to add to their end of trip offering, right? So they made bicycle racks.
Yeah.
Lockers were a perfect add-on to them.
Uh,
They also wanted to go into the Melbourne market. They had a small investment. It was a fabrication company,
Yeah.
but they needed to bulk up their presence around customers in the Melbourne market.
The company was really
This
doing
company had it. It was,
Yeah.
you know, so the stars just, you know, there was sex on offer,
Yeah.
basically,
Understand?
you know,
Yeah.
and as a result,
Can't reject that.
the strategic value was, you know,
But that was through point of difference though, because that company thought of something this company already had, and it was only certain certain people knew that, and they were like, no, that could be our point of difference with the bike racks and with everything else we've got add-ons, and that's our selling point.
and that's just, you know, what we call those synergies, right? The synergy value, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So if we were to value that business, in hindsight, we would have said, well, it's worth $3 million.
Yeah.
We're not moving off our advice.
Yeah.
However, there's another $3 million of synergy value.
Yeah.
But that synergy value is only relevant to the people that bought it.
Yes, correct. I was about to say, yeah. If
So-
you're signed to an average or the general
So,
seller,
well, actually, we had other values. We had other offers, and they were very much in line with.
yeah, I understand.
Right.
Yeah.
But so were we wrong? I think we learned. You know,
Yeah, it's all of us. We learn every day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, there's a few examples of that. It's tricky, right?
Sounds very complex.
When you go to sell a business, I mean, as an owner of a business,
Yeah.
I mean, get good advice, but ultimately you need to be open to the market because, you know.
So the formula basically is a lot of shit.
It is a lot of shit.
It's a lot of shit. I'm thinking about, okay, you turn over X amount, potentially you can make this in 5 years, that's how much it worth. Obviously, don't come to me to evaluate your business, people. I've got no idea. But you know what I'm saying? So overall, it's basically a lot of things to be considered.
You know, it shouldn't be that complex, right? You'd like to think it was simple, but
That's what I thought.
well, it's not as well. Put it this way: there are things you can do to enhance value.
I was about to get that would be my next question.
Yeah.
So we have an idea of how sort of business are valued. In saying that, is there anything you can sort of, with your experience in the industry, can you say if you guys did this 2 years ago, maybe your business will be X amount now, but if they didn't do it, because they didn't do it, they only had X amount. So what would you say some examples are those, if that makes sense?
Yeah, there's a number have come to mind. In fact,
you know what I'm saying. Like if a coffee shop sold donuts at lunchtime, you know.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know.
Yeah.
Just, you know, example.
No. Look, I'll give you one because it's fresh in my mind at the moment. It's a civil construction business, right? So they do subdivisions.
Mm-hmm. Civil construction, it'd be like earthworks or
earthworks.
Earthworks,
pretty
yeah.
much.
Yeah.
Earthworks. You know, civil's on a resi development. They might build some roads. They do a bit of council road work and stuff.
Yeah.
Anyhow, they've sort of been clients of ours for 10 years, right? And previously, the mum and dad, the parents of the now owners, were our clients, right?
Yeah.
And they were getting on a bit, right? And they built this business, and it had a really good rep in the area. That it's just a reputation for delivery, and they got very close to their clients, and they were pretty much roadworks and building sort of water storages and dams and things.
Yeah.
And if you wanted to deal with that business, you spoke to the owner. But that's how it was, right? He had operators on the plant, but pretty much it went to the top of the tree. He made the decisions and away it went.
Yep. It sounds like he was successful though, but
he was, bro.
Yeah.
It was a very successful little biz, right?
Yeah.
Profitable little biz. He worked his heart out, right?
Yeah.
But it was very dependent on
like we were talking about earlier.
on him, you know, and his wife did all the financials.
Yeah.
So we tried to sell the business about 5 years ago, and we had some people interested.
Yeah.
But the offers were pretty low, right? And the reason was, well, if I take you out of the business, Mr. Owner, what have I got? You know, am I still going to have clients, or is a competitor going to poach them?
It opens the doors.
You know, have you got any systems in place around how you manage your maintenance on your gear? All your work's coming from sort of one sector. At that stage, a lot was coming from his relationship with local government, so they were really doing all the maintenance on the roads and stuff. Yeah. So it was quite concentrated in a particular sector, right? So the risk of those earnings and those sales coming were going to be
definitely high, because depending on one person.
Yeah. So we had a few people that were interested. The money was low, and they thought to themselves, "Oh, gee, you know, we only sell it once. We want to retire. That's really not enough."
Yeah.
So that business went through a succession process. They ended up selling it to their son and daughter.
Oh, okay.
Right. So the son and daughter bought it.
Probably just gave it to him, but
No, you're just a kind guy.
Like he just take on the legacy.
Just here, you deal with all my shit.
Pretty much.
Yeah, so they were pretty disappointed, but at the end of the day, they sold it to their son and daughter.
For that price you evaluated at, or excellent?
Pretty close to the price.
Oh, okay,
right?
yeah.
But some of it was loaned, right?
Yeah.
You know, so that was probably the favour they did, right? Because they probably, you know, they would have struggled to get the money from the bank given their savings. They were young dudes, right? Anyways, 5 years later, we're just in the throes of finalising a deal on this business, right? Now the business has grown threefold in terms of sales from where it was to where it is now.
Okay.
Right.
Let's see where it's going.
Right. Its revenue comes from three different sectors: residential, subdivisions, local government roads, mining, and resource wind farms and solar farms. Right. In terms of building the infrastructure around.
Yeah.
Right. So suddenly, the earnings from those sales, there's less risk because there's four different sectors with different prospects.
So
they're getting
cash flow from different sources. If this one goes down, that's up. It's okay. You can replace.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Now, people in the business. Suddenly, the people, they've got bench strength. Well, they're not over endowed with people, but they've got 5 people on the management team.
Yeah.
You know, one's operations. One's business development. One's admin and
that's still the father owning it?
Dad's off. No. Dad's off.
I think I know why.
Right?
Yeah, I know why. Yeah.
Right? So suddenly, you know, the people that are buying it this time, they're looking at the owners and saying, well, we want to keep you because you add a lot of value to the business, but gee, you know, you've got a few people around you that are key people. That's good for us because it means it's spreading the risk.
Yeah.
Because if one of you leaves, there's still knowledge of the business and the customers.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Right? Systems. They've got a lot of heavy plant, you know, big yellow gear and, you know, cat gear and stuff.
Maintenance, yeah.
They've got maintenance systems in place. They know what the preventative maintenance is needed on their gear.
Yeah.
So they know that they're not going to have downtime when things go, you know, into the workshop because it's scheduled.
Yeah.
Right. So all these things are very different about this business than they were 5 years ago. As a result, the value of the business will be probably 4 times what we previously advised 5 years ago.
Well, which is probably why, because they sold to their children, which the children would have kept up to date with the systems in their generation. So whoever sold, he's probably stuck in his old ways, and they probably did invoices with paper. So to involve, you sold, you know, everything now in what I do, it's all like apps.
Yeah.
But it costs. It's costly, but at the same time, it's keeping up and it's making it simple for the clients to sort of communicate with you. You don't even have to see them. It's all like, the boom, boom, bang. Here you go. Send it to me via email or app or whatever. And then they get the information. And I think their father probably didn't understand that, and I think that their children did. So they're keeping up with the time, and that's probably the reason why you've got.
I reckon you're spot on there.
Yeah.
I know you are. And also the other key difference, right?
Mm-hmm.
The father and mother, delightful people. I love them to bits. Like, you know, in my business, you know, we have some really strong relationships with our clients.
Yeah.
That's what I probably enjoy the most, right?
Yeah.
But they would have never gone into this business thinking of selling it.
Yeah.
Or exiting, right? They were hard-working people.
Yep.
You know, nothing was given to them. They earned it all.
Yeah.
And they just put their head down and thought, well, we're good at driving dozers and doing earthworks, so let's see if we can make a crust to feed our family and you know, blah blah blah. The daughter and son
Probably went to uni, good schools.
Well,
oh, they just knew what's going on.
A mix actually. No, I don't think they were overly. I don't know, and in fact, I think the son worked a little bit for his father in the business.
Yes, which helps.
Yeah, so he knew the background,
Yes,
right?
exactly, yeah.
I think he's a mechanic, probably background, trade background.
Which helps the maintenance side of things.
Yeah, but they went into it with a view that, right, mum and dad, we're going to buy it, we'll help you with the succession, but hey bro, hey sis, in 5 years' time, we want to sell this business.
Okay.
And so when they bought it, they were looking at the 5-year point saying, right, what do we need to do to get to a point where we can get value out of this business?
Yeah.
Now those two siblings are in their late 30s, right? And here I am selling their business. You know, when most people you think, oh, you know,
just stick with that and grow.
Well, yeah, but you know, that was their objective, right? They felt they could have a crack. They felt they could build and change the value, and they're both going to go on to different stages of their lives.
Yeah.
One's going to stay with the people that are buying in.
Yeah.
And one's going to go off and do something.
So off in the sunset.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you know, so they deliberately had a plan about the value that they were going to build.
I was about to say, I think that got back to my TAFE, just shout out to TAFE.
Dave, where are you?
Yeah, shout out. That's what he was talking about too. Like when you have every business has an exit plan. Not saying that you will take that exit plan, but it sort of accelerates you to sort of get everything in place. So say if someone does come and offer you money, because he said you might just work in your business and be comfortable in it, but then someone might come randomly and go, look, hey, like, we're interested in what you're doing, what you're producing.
Yeah.
We don't want to buy it. But if you don't have what we talk about, everything in place, it's sort of like, oh shit, maybe it's not worth as much as you thought it was. If that makes sense.
I reckon like, that's important. I think.
And he's talking about an exit plan, so he's saying that having an exit plan sort of gets those processes and makes those goals to make your company valued at X amount.
Well, it does, but I think the point you're making is a good one. Like, ultimately, it's about, as a business owner, it's about options, right? Like, and even as individuals, if we're punched into a corner, you know, we become feral. We don't react very well. You know,
we don't.
you know what I mean? We're you know, put yourself in the business environment, right? If you got options, well, listen, I can either do that or I can do that, right?
Yeah.
And you can evaluate those. Like the second option might be, you know, not the best option, but it's an option, right?
Yeah.
You're gonna, but as a decision maker, you're going to operate better, right?
Yeah.
So I think the point you make, you know. Yeah, you don't necessarily have to exit.
Yeah.
But the issue is, you know, well, at least you've got the option, right?
Yeah.
And you can decide. You know, and I don't know, if you're in business, part of being in business is, you know, is being self-directed, being able to, you know, being able to be that explorer. You know, just decide for yourself and back yourself.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's interesting because what you're saying to me actually opened up my eyes a bit more into business itself, like value and a lot of things I don't have in place myself personally. But you know, I don't want to say I've got time because I'm getting older, but it's definitely things that you need to learn, and there's things that you sort of learn along the way too. Like, but for me, it's sort of been, I don't know, everyone's different, but I feel like I don't know, pressure is probably one thing I learned from a lot. Pressure, like I have to be in like. I lost a contract once upon a time. Just a quick story. I lost a contract once upon a time. I was like running wild, like 6 months, and what happened was that because everything was in place, the work was every day, I got complacent, which made me lose focus of actually the goal was you get your gear, don't just be a subby, you actually be the contractor. Problem was the money was so good. Wherever I saw it yesterday, it's never about money, it's about opportunity. That got me to that level, but you're not going to get any further from there, Joe. So you need to. But then what they did was that my quality dropped because I got complacent. I wasn't on the jobs. The boys were there doing it. But what happened is that bang, they dropped me. Income dropped. So then I'm pressured now. Then fuck, I've got to build back up. But then I'm going the actual original route, which was, my own gear, my contractors, and going that way. Which year and a half later, I'm way bigger than what I was. That's through pressure though.
But how good is that lesson?
Oh man, it's all to be grateful. Like I'm not taking anything for granted now. But it's like it just shows. But it's also telling me that where you are in business, because we were talking about just earlier. Like if you remove yourself, Joe, where are you? I'm still in that sort of position, if that makes sense.
Well, that's right.
Which is making me think that you need to sort of I'm pressured down in a sense to sort of think differently, if that makes sense.
That's reasonable. But I think I'm arguing against myself a bit here, right? Mm-hmm. You can listen to so-called wise owl bloody valuer or advisor, right?
That's why you're here.
and they'll tell you all this shit about how to do things better, right?
Yeah.
But ultimately, in running a business, and I know in running my own business, it's about the complacent thing, but it's also about priorities. Today we all have a lot of noise around us, right?
Yeah.
Like if we listened to everything and did everything that everyone was saying, we'd be spinning around. So businesses, you go in stages, and it's a journey. I firmly believe it's a journey. So you don't, I think it's picking off what's the next logical step. Like, I like to use the analogy, it's no different to building a house or anything else. It's about, I think to build value, if you get the foundations right, then you can add on the second story, so to speak. You can't do everything at once. I mean, your business might be very reliant on you at the moment, right?
Yeah.
But it might be that your judgment is, well, I need to get it to a certain level where it's generating whatever. I'm sort of getting the work I want to get, and then I can start to put my emphasis back on something else.
Yeah.
Right? Because there's no doubt, as business owners, there's a few people that are good at everything, but most of us are better at some things than others.
Yeah.
Right? So keeping in the back of your mind, what am I really good at? Right? Now you told me, yes, I don't know this is, I saw it yesterday, but you said I'm good at sales, James.
I'm more of a salesperson, if that makes sense.
Yeah. So I think in the development of your business, it's okay. How do I develop the other bits to a point where they're covered, not without me, but from an overview perspective in some respects. And then how do I put my foot to the pedal in sales, to drive the capacity when I've got those other bits ready. I mean,
which I was talking about the opportunity with that certain person.
Absolutely.
And that sort of frees up the opportunity for me to perform at my best, which is sales, in that makes sense.
Yeah, and it's putting trust in someone, right?
Yeah.
For some business owners, including myself, right? It's
hard. Workers.
Right. Like, I mean,
You want to open it? You know what? Not to talk about my taste issue, but that's what actually one thing he did mention to me about business. He said, he actually pointed it was me because I was sort of a shit student, if that makes sense. I'm not an engineer, but it is what it is. But he said to me, he goes, Joe, when you start a business, just remember the hard part is not the jobs, not the work you get or whatever, it's people. And then I said, because, and he did point me out, and I said to myself, he goes, well, look at you, you come around, you sort of follow us around here sometimes, and I'm just judging from that, and I don't think you're probably the best worker at work, which is right, but I was wrong with money.
Yeah.
So he's actually right. So it was never, so to me, it's like you can pay your employees trillions of dollars, but if they don't want to be there, they're just there for the money. They're not going to perform at the where you want them to perform to take the company up. So what he was basically saying was that people are the ones what's got to be the problem more than probably anything. Like,
Do you know what?
you know what I mean? Like, people will be the problem in business more than actually the actual job itself. Because a bricklayer, you can put brick on brick, but having a person doing it efficient, on time,
Yeah.
a lot of things like being on time. Is he punctual? Is he trustworthy? Can he do the job when you're not there? You know, like, how's he working with, you know, like, you can't control people. So that's one thing too. So I think finding the right people is managing people is a hard part. I think of business.
It's a hard part, and it's
getting the right team is hard.
no, and it's about a lot of things, including culture.
Yeah.
But like your TAFE teacher.
Oh, but mind you, he was like 60, 50, so
Yeah,
that's a lot of life experiences.
But he knew his shit.
Yeah.
Like if I reflect on my experience, right?
Yeah.
And I don't want to bore you too much of this, but
Nah.
if you go back to the early days, right? I was working in a corporate environment, right? You know,
Boring.
Yeah.
Fuck it, hang on.
It's about-
that political correctness. Trust me, I was there for a bit. I got in trouble. Me, I don't suit it, but yeah, go on.
Yeah. So where was I working? Right. So I was working for a bank, right?
Were you using the right pronouns though? Like.
Pronouns. What's up? Pronoun.
Oh, you haven't been in that industry for a long time, have you? Oh no, it's a joke. Watch Joe Rogan podcast, you'll see what I'm talking about. Oh.
Yeah. So right.
Yeah.
Righto. So and I was heading up a business that was several $100 million in profit. Right?
Mm-hmm.
And I felt pretty good about that. I was in my early 30s. And if I reflect back on it, right, I had a team of people. I had, I don't know how many, you give a sizable team. Yeah, it could have been, I don't know, 50, 60 people or something.
A lot of responsibility.
Yeah, but if I reflect back on it, right, you know, all I was interested in was driving the profit in that business. That was all I was interested in. It was the dollars and cents.
Mm.
And I worked so hard, right, to just deliver the return, right,
Yeah.
the profit, right.
Which the company will love that.
Oh, they loved it.
Yeah.
Loved me.
What do you find them?
I was a bright star, right?
Yeah.
For a period. And if I reflect on that, and then I think where I am now, you know, yeah, I think about the money that I'm going to make or on a job and what have you, and the margin and what have you. But it's not a high priority for me. The highest priority is how am I treating my customer, my team, my people, and my suppliers, right? And what sort of a relationship have I got with them? Would they walk over hot coals for me?
Yeah.
And what am I doing for them that's adding value to them, right? And it's not just in the work environment. If you take your staff, right? You know, they've got lives, they've got careers. You know, how are you adding value? Genuinely adding value to them, right? And I don't know. It sounds, I don't know. If I look back at how I felt, you know, a couple of decades ago, I'd probably think, oh, gee, you're a soft.
Just keep going. Yeah.
But they're the important things. It's how you treat and consider others in your circle of business, right? Because what goes around comes around, right? And the money will flow. If you've got a point of difference, and you're delivering to that promise, and it's adding value to someone's business or problems or whatever, you know, you'll find that the market will reward that.
I think that's more comes under like bonuses and stuff like that. You know what I mean? Incentives. Like,
well, it does.
You know what I mean? Like, I think, and it's also time, honesty. You know, positions. You know, you work X amount. You know, we give you a certain position.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like, it's a lot of things. There'll be a lot of things. I think.
I agree. I mean, I had a discussion with a team member yesterday, right? About performance for the year and salary reviews. Right?
Or you, gotta get paid rise. 3%.
I said -3%.
Oh, if only.
And we had a discussion about the dollars and cents, right? But do you know where I observed the strongest positive body language from the staff member?
Let me guess. Time.
What do you mean?
Giving him less time at work, more time at home. Wouldn't that be part of it?
Well,
I say that for a reason.
yeah, go.
So there was a reason. So they've done, I don't know if it's one of the Scandinavian, I don't know if it's Scandinavian, maybe Iceland or some weird country like that. Not weird, sorry, I didn't mean that.
I heard about this, 4-day week.
Yeah, so I don't mean to say weirdo countries, like good countries. I've seen pictures, they're really awesome.
They do look pretty awesome.
They look good. Yeah, that bath you see at Iceland is pretty good.
Yeah.
I've only seen it on Instagram, so yeah. No, but I think one of those countries, so what they do is that they find out that there's no more 5-day working weeks and no overtime. So it's just 4 days, 8 hours, and you go home and you get paid this X amount of salary. They say that they're actually more productive in those 4 days than what they are with having 5 or 6 days working. And if you look at Australia, we work until like 7 days sometimes. You know, sometimes I have to work a Saturday, which and even as a business owner, I don't want to work. Like I don't want to work weekends. I want to have my weekends off to myself. And I tell the boys like, if I don't want to work, I don't expect you guys to work.
Yeah.
And that is a point for them because they go, yes, well, at least we get a weekend off. And for the construction industry, it's very hard to have someone who just 5 days a week, just get the jobs done, and then we can sort of have the week. Because I feel like as a worker too, once upon a time, I didn't want to work weekends. Like I just want to do my job, get it done. Do we have to fucking come in? So I think that life experience, what you're saying, actually you can use that to say that if you're in their, once upon a time you're in their position, and you knew that if you just worked 5 days a week, you'd be happy with that X amount of money. Because it wasn't about money with me, it was about time.
Yeah.
And when I heard that story, and they show there's stats, there's facts and all that stuff. They say that they're more productive, they get more done because they know this is our last day we get it.
Well, it used to be, you know, I think that's a really important point because it used to be, you know, unless you were working, unless you're long hours, you were looked at as, oh, you're slack, you know, what are you doing? Now, what the fuck, that shouldn't be the.
That's a culture, though.
Absolutely, it
was
a
a
culture.
culture. Yeah.
It was a culture.
Yeah.
Right. It shouldn't be the measure of success.
Yeah.
Right. And we're just going through. I feel, you know, we're slowly getting through that change. Where, you know, it's not the time you spend at the desk or on the site. It's actually what you deliver when you're there.
Yes. Correct.
Right.
Yeah.
And so, I mean.
Going back to what you said.
No. Yeah. I mean, I really like that. And actually, I'll tell you what got the best body language in terms of the discussion was actually not that, but it was.
Oops.
Oops. No, it was. Listen, you did a really good job this year. You contributed here, and here. We couldn't have done without you.
Encouragement.
And I got this big smile.
Yeah.
Right? Like a glowing smile.
Yeah.
Right? Didn't say anything, but a glowing smile.
It's appreciation.
Right?
Yeah.
It's appreciation. And I guess I didn't really realise this back in the day, right? When I was talking about that
different days.
But if you think about it, like I'll get back to what my business is about. It's about valuing. But as people, we all want to be valued.
Yeah.
Right? We all want to feel like, you know, there's something valuable about us. Right?
Some of us.
No, seriously. Like, yeah, I don't know. I mean, you might tell us what it is.
Jared's very valuable. Without him, there's no podcast.
No, he was telling me that.
You're doing a good job, Brad. Keep it up.
Appreciate what you do.
Appreciate you, Jared. Without Jared, the show doesn't go on.
Over an hour.
You have pay rise.
Yes. You witnessed it. Yeah.
No, sorry, yeah.
Yeah, but we do as individuals, right? And as customers and suppliers in a business, and as people working for someone.
Yeah.
We just want to feel like, oh, you know, I'm working hard, but I know that the boss values me. You know.
Would you say value or purpose?
Sorry?
Like two different things, eh? Value or purpose. That's two different things, isn't it?
Well, I think that it is two different things.
Yeah. No, so I drift off a bit. Yeah.
No. I mean, they're connected though.
Yeah.
Like.
Because if someone feels like, no, I belong here, and you tell them that, without you, the ship doesn't sail. That's sort of maybe ticks their box up in. I've got purpose in life. I don't know, but yeah.
But it's got to be genuine, right?
Yeah, for sure.
And I think
Sorry,
I think the word purpose is important though, because it's part of the intrinsic value.
Because if you're not giving them those comments, they'll probably think, oh, well, my purpose is not this then, and maybe I should have done something else. But I don't know, I'm drifting off. But yeah.
No, I think, I mean, so I've kind of learning that a bit late in life really, but like you'd be surprised how that can turn a B grade team into the best A grade team. Right?
Yeah.
Now the other thing is, if they're not doing something valuable, or they're heading off track.
Yeah. Pulling back is hard.
But like, I'm in the school where, you need to be transparent with people.
That's your corporate world, isn't it? In construction, I'll tell you how we do it.
Well,
get the F up there, start fucking doing it. Start getting the F up there doors, mate.
I reckon we can learn a bit from the construction game. Right?
Well, that's why I like construction. I suit it.
Because you go tell her how it is.
Yeah, and to be honest, I think that's the problem. I think if you tippy toe around people, they take advantage of it. And I'm not saying that, look, some people don't need it. Some people do need that, we value, and they do value. And what you're saying, I do it to my boys. I shake their hand after the week, boys, we did good, margins with this, also work without you guys, basically certain shit don't sell. But at times, like, it's not always that. Sometimes you have to, and I know I was there once upon a time, and I'll tell you this now, like, you got to tippy toe, and that's, to me, it's very, I personally can't work it out. Someone with my kind of personality, definitely you need to be in construction.
Well, I've never been a tippy toe, but
no, you have to be.
In some environments, you actually, it's not accepted that you can be straight and,
Is that a problem? It could be a problem though.
I don't know.
Doesn't make you better, but.
Like, I just like to say, listen, like I said to this staff person yesterday, the same one that I talked to before there.
Yeah.
I said, look, one of the problems is an area I think you can develop. 12 months ago, I really didn't feel comfortable, and we talked about trust, right?
Yeah.
I didn't feel comfortable putting you out in front of clients.
Oh, whoa, that's passive aggressive right now. Like, whoa. What is it, email to HR? No, that's what I'm saying, but that's how it is. Like,
no, exactly. Well, that's.
I didn't like the tone and the language you use. It's a bit too high for me, but.
Yeah. So,
mind you, you're the director of the company. You're the director of the company, but like.
Yeah, right. Well, it's pretty serious, right? Like it's sort of like 12 months ago. I didn't feel comfortable putting it in front of clients. Now, in the last 12 months, you've grown so much. Like you've done this, you've done that. Like it's just blown me away, the improvement, right? Yeah. And as you know, I'm now comfortable to introduce you to clients. But, I still have to choreograph that, and I have to check and make sure it's on track and blah, blah, blah. Where I want to get to is, I can introduce you to a client and away you go.
Oh,
right?
And
then, I might get together with you and the client once, just to add a bit of extra, but ultimately the client is yours. So now a lot of businesses, they wouldn't have that kind of it's not a construction discussion, but they wouldn't have that direct discussion.
Yeah.
But I think, tell people how it is, because ultimately they can decide for themselves whether this guy,
it's how they take it.
This guy's passive aggressive, or he's just being honest and straightforward, and I need to decide whether I want to get with the program, or alternatively leave because I don't like where he's going.
Oh, fuck off. That's one or the other. No. But it's just different, interesting. But I think the actual principle of talking to people should be the same, just honest. I mean, you don't have to be aggressive or anything, but you can just tell them this is what you're gonna do. Put your socks up, and 12 months later you should be at this point because you got all the heaps of potential. You can sort of drop them. There's sort of techniques too, like you drop them and you lift them back up. But that's a whole different conversation.
I mean, I've probably learned more techniques from the younger generation of business people than I have from my own.
Because I wouldn't say your stuff. I think it's more because it's the time, the technology, and then the kids these. You got fucking 2-year-olds watching knowing how to work an iPad. You know what I mean? That just grows when they're 10. 10 years of more technology. Yeah. They're keeping up to date with everything. My dad doesn't use any phones. He uses just the brick phones, those Nokia.
Oh, really?
Just all it needs is green or red. That's all he knows. Like if someone rings, you press the green. When he doesn't even hang up. We have to hang up for him, and then he goes.
Yeah.
But yeah, but that's an older generation. So
Yeah.
But then my one, my kids will probably know something I don't know, and
Yeah.
I think it's just always going to be like that. But I think what you're saying is that because they're sort of relative to this era, if that makes sense.
Yeah, well, I mean, I have to get with the program because
Yeah.
all my team are below 30,
Oh.
right? So like unless I can communicate,
Yeah.
I'm lost.
Yeah. I understand.
But it's good.
Yeah.
I've found it, like I've learned quite a bit. I mean, I think it's just I don't know. It's hard to put a finger on the differences, right? But
Yeah.
it's different.
Yeah, so go back to that. So we talked about how you value a company, and we talked about the problems they sort of face when they're getting valued.
Yeah.
What was it? Have you ever met a company where you just basically walked into it? They said like, just value our company, and you go, fuck, this is easy. Have you ever had those experiences? And obviously, because we talked about what was in place and stuff, that makes it easy for you guys to evaluate. But have you ever had an experience where you just dealt with someone within 24 or whatever, however long you dealt with them, and you go, you guys actually got everything in place. You guys are actually worth X amount, if not more.
Yeah.
Have you ever had that sort of come across?
Occasionally.
Occasionally. So why I asked that question is that basically it's telling me that we got a lot of fucked up businesses out there.
No, but
not fucked up, but just not everything in place for it to be valued at an X amount of price or X amount of what you think it could be, potentially.
well, the reason though is, I think.
Yeah, Jared, I can see you. Yeah.
Yeah, your phone's about to die, and also overtime.
Oh, okay. So no, that's all right. Yeah. What time is it? How much? What's on my battery? Hey, can you get my charger in my room? Then probably connect to the computer, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I'll do that. But as well as that, audio cut off at around an hour and 8 minutes in.
Audio cut off.
Yeah.
So what does that?
So and then I restart. That means that there's going to be about like 30 or 25 seconds worth of silence. On the
Oh,
phone.
that's okay. Yes, but you can connect it all, yeah.
Yeah, it's just that for,
If that phone lasts
for
how
20
long?
seconds, there's going to be.
You got that extension lead? What is this?
Yeah, there's a DHL driver at the front.
DHL.
Yeah, like a delivery driver.
Oh yeah, that's right. It's my shoes. Yeah. some designers. Yeah, sweet. You gotta come again. We're gonna do this
No,
again when you have time. So thanks again for the.
Hey, that's a
That's
pleasure.
what, I know we sort of drift off a bit about that, but it was good. Like hopefully
No.
people to appreciate the conversation and we've gone forward.
Yeah, I mean,
Shout out to Clayton too. Clayton, appreciate
Clayton?
appreciate for the guest, man.
hey, Clayton.
Appreciate it.
Yeah,
Clayton.
shout out for Clayton.
Shout out for Clayton. But
Yeah,
awesome
no.
to have you on. But James, please come back on again eventually. And,
Yeah, I'll be happy to, bro. I've enjoyed it.
Yeah, enjoy it. Yeah, sorry we drift off a bit, but we'll definitely get all the other questions back because it's actually helping me. I was actually analysing
Yeah,
my
well,
business.
I mean, it's making me think about what it's like, sometimes you don't get a chance to just reflect on what you do. It's good.
Yeah,
It's
no, I appreciate it. But again, please come back again and sure I'll have you anytime. Appreciate it. Cheers, thanks.
Cheers, bro.
Cheers, though. That was good, eh?
That was alright.
That was alright.
Yeah?
But yeah, sorry we drifted off a bit, but
No,
definitely we've got to run it back again. It'll be definitely awesome.
Yeah, I'd be happy to do that. There's a lot of other stuff.
Can you take a picture too, Jared?
Yeah, just still recording. So.
Oh no, you can stop it now. We're ready.
Oh, really? Oh.
Yeah.